The red planet holds secrets. Secrets they don't want you to understand. Secrets hidden in plain sight, disguised as scientific facts and astronomical certainties. But what if I told you that one of the most fundamental truths about our celestial neighbor is actually an elaborate deception? A cosmic falsehood perpetuated for over a century. Look up at Mars on a clear night. They tell us it has two moons, Phobos and Deimos, fear and terror, named after the mythological horses that pulled the chariot of the god of war. A fitting story, too fitting perhaps, but what if one of these moons isn't real? What if one of these supposed natural satellites is actually something else entirely? Consider this. Of all the planets in our inner solar system, Earth has one moon. Venus has none. Mercury has none. Yet Mars, smaller than Earth, somehow captured two? The official explanation is that these are captured asteroids. Convenient, too convenient. Let's examine the evidence piece by piece. The deeper you go, the more the official narrative unravels. First, the historical record. The moons of Mars were supposedly discovered in 1877 by an astronomer using a 26-inch refractor telescope. Interesting timing, wasn't it? Just as tensions between major world powers were escalating, just as technological innovation was accelerating, just as the concept of space exploration was beginning to capture the public imagination. But here's something they don't teach you in school. Literary references to the two moons of Mars appeared before their supposed discovery. A famous satirical novel from 1726, over 150 years earlier, mentioned that Mars had two moons. The author even got the orbital characteristics approximately correct. Coincidence? Or was someone leaking classified information? Now let's talk about Phobos specifically. Its orbit is decaying. It's getting closer to Mars by about 6.6 feet every 100 years. The scientific establishment tells us this will result in Phobos being torn apart by tidal forces or crashing into Mars within 50 million years. But what if there's another explanation? What if this orbital decay isn't natural at all? Consider the physical characteristics. Phobos is not spherical like our moon. It's irregularly shaped. Its surface is covered with strange grooves that radiate from the Stickney crater. The official explanation is that these are stress fractures. But engineers who've analyzed these patterns anonymously claim they're more consistent with artificial structural supports than natural formations. Then there's the density problem. Phobos has an unusually low density for its size and appearance. It's less dense than most asteroids. The explanation? It must be porous, they say, full of holes like Swiss cheese. But what if it's hollow? What if it's not a natural body at all? In 1958, a respected scientist actually proposed that Phobos might be artificial, a hollowed-out space station placed in orbit by an advanced civilization. This wasn't some fringe theorist. This was the chairman of the board of governors of an Eastern space research organization. His theory was quickly dismissed, ridiculed, and buried. Ask yourself, why the rush to silence this line of inquiry? The Soviet Union sent probes to study the Martian moons in the late 1980s. The first probe mysteriously failed. The second returned strange data about Phobos that has never been fully explained. Shortly after, the Soviet Union collapsed. Connection? You decide. Listen to this. In 2012, high-resolution cameras captured images of strange formations on Phobos. A monolith-like structure rises from the surface. A straight, geometrical feature that stands in stark contrast to the natural landscape. Similar to structures found in remote Earth locations associated with ancient civilizations. The official response? It's just a rock. A rock that rises at precise angles and casts shadows inconsistent with natural formation. Radio astronomers have detected unusual signals emanating from the vicinity of Phobos. Not continuous broadcasts, but regular repeating patterns that suggest artificial origin. When independent researchers attempt to access this data, they find it classified or mysteriously corrupted. And what about the infamous face on Mars photographed in the Cydonia region? Initially dismissed as a trick of light and shadow, higher resolution images have only deepened the mystery. The mathematical relationships between the face and other nearby structures correspond to advanced geometric principles found in ancient Earth civilizations. And the relationship between these structures and the orbit of Phobos precisely aligned. Another coincidence? Now let's talk about the hollow moon theory. When meteors strike a solid body, they create a distinctive ringing sound. When seismic instruments were placed on our moon, meteor impacts created reverberations that lasted for over an hour, suggesting an unusual internal structure. No similar experiments have been conducted on Phobos. Ask yourself, why not? What are they afraid we might discover? The spectroscopic analysis of Phobos reveals an unusual composition. Unlike most asteroids, which are primarily rock or primarily ice, Phobos contains elements rarely found together naturally. Its surface is covered with a layer of fine dust approximately 1 meter thick, almost like camouflage. Beneath this dust layer, materials that don't match any known asteroid type. Space agencies worldwide have shown unusual interest in this tiny moon. Multiple missions have been proposed specifically to study Phobos, with budgets far exceeding what would be expected for a simple asteroid study. Many of these missions have been mysteriously cancelled after initial funding approval. Those that have proceeded have experienced unusual technical difficulties precisely when approaching Phobos. Consider the shadows. Astronomical photographers have noted that the shadows cast by Phobos on the Martian surface don't always match what would be expected from its official size and orbit. These discrepancies are small but significant. When these observations are submitted to scientific journals, they're rejected without explanation. There's also the matter of the Phobos grunt. This was a sample return mission designed to bring back material from Phobos. The spacecraft failed shortly after launch in 2011 under mysterious circumstances. The official explanation cited programming errors, an explanation that strains credibility given the expertise involved. Was the mission sabotaged? Was someone, or something, preventing us from obtaining physical evidence? Whistleblowers from within space programs have come forward, often anonymously, describing unusual protocols surrounding Phobos research. Data is compartmentalized. Research teams are kept isolated from each other. Findings are reviewed by security personnel before being passed to scientists. These are not typical procedures for studying natural celestial bodies. Remote viewers, individuals with purported psychic abilities employed by government agencies during the Cold War, have independently described Phobos as artificial, hollow, and inhabited. While remote viewing remains controversial, the consistency of these descriptions across multiple independent sessions is difficult to dismiss entirely. Then there's the curious case of the missing photographic evidence. High-resolution images of Phobos taken by Mars orbiters often contain strange artifacts or unexplained blurs, precisely where anomalous features have been reported. When these discrepancies are pointed out, updated images are released with these areas mysteriously clear, but also subtly different in overall appearance. Now let's examine the radar anomalies. When subjected to radar scanning, portions of Phobos return signals consistent with metallic structures beneath the surface. The official explanation? Unusual mineral deposits. But these deposits seem to be arranged in geometric patterns that natural processes cannot explain. Ancient texts from multiple Earth civilizations describe a second moon of Mars that was not a moon but a chariot or home of the gods. These descriptions were dismissed as mythology. But what if they were historical accounts? The timing is suspicious. Interest in Mars exploration spiked in the mid-20th century, then mysteriously waned only to suddenly resurface decades later. During this gap, countless documents related to early Mars observations were reclassified or went missing from archives. What was found during those early observations that needed to be hidden? Here's something chilling. Astronomers who have focused too much attention on Phobos have experienced strange patterns of career obstruction. Grant funding suddenly dries up. Research proposals are rejected without explanation. Job applications are mysteriously unsuccessful. Equipment malfunctions during critical observations. Data files become corrupted. These patterns affect only those asking certain types of questions about Phobos. The moon Deimos, by contrast, appears to be exactly what we're told it is: a captured asteroid. It behaves normally. It presents no anomalies. It attracts little special attention. The perfect control in this cosmic experiment, one real moon and one artificial one hiding in plain sight. Consider this theory. What if Phobos is an ancient space station, placed in orbit around Mars by a civilization far more advanced than our own? What if this station monitors Mars, and by extension Earth? What if it's still operational at some basic level, running automated systems established thousands or perhaps millions of years ago? Or perhaps it's more recent. In the 1950s and 60s, both major space powers were racing to reach Mars. Officially, neither succeeded in placing anything in permanent Martian orbit during this period. But black budget programs, operating outside public knowledge, had capabilities far beyond what was officially acknowledged. What if one of these programs succeeded in placing a disguised space station around Mars, hiding it in plain sight as a natural moon? The purpose of such a station: monitoring, surveillance, a permanent, deniable presence in Mars orbit, watching everything that happens on and around the red planet. As we begin serious planning for human missions to Mars, ask yourself, why the renewed interest in Phobos? Why the sudden flurry of proposed missions specifically to this tiny, supposedly insignificant moon? There's another possibility, more disturbing still. What if Phobos is not of human origin at all? What if it truly is an artificial structure but created by non-human intelligence? A silent sentinel, watching our progress, perhaps even influencing it in ways we don't recognize. The mathematics are compelling. The orbit of Phobos is unusually perfect, too perfect for a captured asteroid which should have a more eccentric path. Its position allows for complete surveillance of the Martian surface every 7 hours and 39 minutes. A coincidence? Or intelligent design? And that orbital decay I mentioned earlier? Calculated to make the structure appear natural, while actually maintaining precise positioning relative to specific Martian surface features. Thermal imaging of Phobos has revealed unusual heat patterns inconsistent with a solid rock body. Certain areas remain cool despite direct solar exposure, while others maintain heat during periods of shadow. This suggests internal climate regulation, a feature unnecessary for a natural moon but essential for a habitat. Communication systems directed at Mars have occasionally experienced unexplained interference precisely when Phobos passes overhead. This interference has specific characteristics that engineers have privately acknowledged match artificial signal patterns rather than natural electromagnetic phenomena. The grooves on Phobos' surface, officially explained as stress fractures, are too regular and too precisely aligned. Independent analysis suggests they more closely resemble ventilation structures or carefully designed energy absorption channels. When mapped in 3 dimensions, these grooves create a pattern that optimizes surface area exposure to solar radiation, exactly what you'd want for an energy collection system. And most chilling of all, the Phobos monolith appears to change position slightly between observations. The changes are subtle, requiring detailed image analysis to detect, but they're there. Official explanations cite camera angle differences or shadow variations, but careful analysis controlling for these factors shows actual positional changes. Something on Phobos is moving. Why does this matter to you? Because the truth about Phobos is a thread that, when pulled, unravels a much larger tapestry of deception. If they're hiding the true nature of a Martian moon, what else are they hiding? Who benefits from this deception? What other established facts about our solar system, our history, our very reality, might actually be carefully constructed falsehoods? The next time you see Mars in the night sky, remember that one of its moons may not be a moon at all. It may be watching us even as we watch it. The red planet's guardian, silent witness to our civilization's halting steps into the cosmic ocean. Is it a relic of a forgotten past or an active participant in determining our future? The evidence is there for those with eyes to see and minds open enough to accept possibilities beyond the sanctioned narrative. Connect the dots. Ask the forbidden questions. Look not where they direct your gaze, but where they distract you from looking. The fake moon of Mars isn't just an astronomical curiosity. It's a key to understanding the true history of our solar system and humanity's place within it. The truth doesn't fear investigation. Only lies require constant protection. And the more complex the protection, the more significant the lie. Watch the skies, question everything. The answers are there, hiding in plain sight, orbiting the red planet every 7 hours and 39 minutes. Phobos. Fear. But who is afraid? Those who built it, those who maintain the deception, or those of us on the verge of discovering the truth? Remember, in a universe of infinite possibilities, the most unlikely explanation is that everything is exactly as we've been told it is. The fake moon watches. But now, you are watching back.